know what Friday is? I'll give you a hint. It's Friday the 13th. It is that holy day of obligation when all races, creeds, religions, and colors are thrown aside in the pursuit of watching as many Friday the 13th movies as humanly possible. What you need to do is rent or get your hands on as many Friday the 13th movies as humanly possible to watch on that day of days, Friday the 13th. It's been almost a year since the last one. We're mercifully blessed with 2 this year. There's going to be one this Friday, and there's going to be one in December. So even if this one caught you off guard, Friday is coming in December once again. This is fair warning. There are going to be spoilers throughout this triple feature, which is also going to be very long. So 2 warnings. This is going to be a long video, and there are going to be spoilers for movies that are at least 20, if not pushing 30 years old. This week, our Friday the 13th themed triple feature is going to be the Tommy Cycle, the 3 films that focus on our erstwhile nemesis to Jason, Tommy Jarvis, portrayed by different actors in all 3 films. Our menu includes Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, and Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives! For those of you that don't know, Friday the 13th features Jason Voorhees, our hockey-masked slasher du jour, and he hangs out in my beloved home state of New Jersey. In fact, my parents live just outside of Voorhees, New Jersey, and in fact there is a Crystal Lake. I think though it's just a stupid little business park lake. It's not a real lake, but A+ for effort. Number 2, Jason Voorhees takes over in this form, with the burlap sack covering his horribly hydrocephalic enlarged skull. In the early films, Jason is not a supernatural force of evil. He is actually just a dude that won't die. It's kind of funny. So he comes back in number 3, in which he first dons the glorious hockey mask, which would become the symbol forever of our New Jersey slasher. Friday the 13th Part 4, the ill-named final chapter. Fun fact, Friday the 13th has had 12 installments, including every permutation of them, and is the only horror film series to have both a final chapter and a final Friday. 2 finals. Guess what neither of them were? That's right, neither of them were the last movie. Nice try, Paramount and New Line. You're never ending this series. Friday the 13th Part 4 is installment 3 of what can only be described as Jason Voorhees' unstoppable rampage of teenage murder. The thing to understand is that Friday the 13th Part 2, 3, and 4 basically happen within days of each other. Jason just keeps getting up. And as it turns out, New Jersey police officers are the most incompetent on the planet. Anyway, Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, is the end of Jason's long weekend. And boy, does he go out with a bang. Friday the 13th Part 4 is probably my second favorite installment in the series, my first being number 7, which we are not going to talk about in this triple feature, maybe in the one in December. This has the best, or not balance, but frequency of teenagers, nudity, and horrific, hilarious violence. Jason wakes up in the morgue of whatever hospital they carted him off to and proceeds to not only kill Fackler from Police Academy, but then runs off right back to Camp Crystal Lake, where, wouldn't you know it, a gaggle of nubile teenagers have just moved in next door to the Jarvis Lake House. Now, the Jarvises are Trisha, Tommy, and Trisha and Tommy's mom. Trisha and Tommy are sort of interesting for, hot suburban white women. Tommy is played by the one, the only Corey Feldman of the Two Coreys fame. And young Tommy, at this point, is just your average 10-year-old that loves horror movies. He loves horror makeup. He's basically, I wouldn't be surprised if he was named Tommy after Tom Savini, the actual creator of Jason. See, in the original Friday the 13th, Jason was only ever going to be described or referenced in stories. You would never actually see him. It was Savini's idea to have him pop out of the lake at the end, and he created all the makeup effects for him. So Tom Savini is the father of Jason, and it's only fitting that Jason's most consistent antagonist should be named Tommy as well. So the teenagers, which involve twins, a guy that won't take his baseball cap off, Matthew Starr, and Crispin friggin' Glover, and one of the girls from Weird Science get basically taken out in a short order. And it was in this one that I started really thinking about how horrific all of these scenarios are, because just about all these people never have any idea what's going on. If you think about it, you, the audience, you take this for granted that you know that they're in a horror movie and that, they're going to die. But you always wish they could do something about it, or at least I do. I really, as much as I like the ridiculousness of the violence, what I really enjoy is watching the people survive and try to get out from under this horrible fate. Fate being Jason Voorhees in this case. Now, in this one, basically nobody knows what's going on. In the second and third one, there had been rumors of Jason and Jason's afoot. These people don't have any idea at all. The only one that does know is who I like to call Jim Hero, because he shows up, he's big, he's manly, and he's here to take out Jason Voorhees. All I'm going to say is that not only does he die screaming, the actual thing he is screaming is, "Oh God, he's killing me, run away, he's killing me, oh God." It is one of the funniest goddamn things ever put in a horror movie. Ever. Actually, it's the second funniest thing compared to Crispin Glover dancing and trying to act like an introverted but normal human being. It's such an uphill struggle. He's adorable at it. But everything basically comes down to Trish and Tommy, our Jarvis siblings. And they manage to actually kill Jason. It's interesting because whereas in number 2, he gets slashed here, but somehow survives any sort of main veins getting cut. In number 3, he gets hit here, but, he's mentally handicapped to begin with, so maybe the machete hit a part of his brain either we don't need or he don't need. In this one, Corey Feldman's Tommy Jarvis is driven to the point where he just goes John Henry on Jason Voorhees' head. He takes the machete and he just brings it down and down and down and down until Trisha is screaming desperately to bring Tommy out of his fugue state and back to reality. But has he come back to reality? The little close-up on Corey Feldman's eyes at the end make me wonder if he hasn't been tainted by this, the final chapter and interaction with Jason Voorhees. Fun fact, he has. We're about to find out. The aptly named New Beginning, Friday the 13th, Part 5, Jason's dead. He's cremated dead. There is no wiggle room around it. He is no longer alive. So, the question is, who the fuck is killing all these kids in the woods? The kids, this time, being the delinquents in a sort of halfway house. Think of the kids from A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 if they managed to get out of the crazy house and into some sort of halfway house to try to acclimate them to the rest of the world. One of these people is Tommy Jarvis, all grown up. He's played by John Shepherd in this film, who later went on to seminary and or priesthood. The Wikipedia is not exactly sure. Tommy is mentally a little worse for wear after his encounter with Jason Voorhees at the end of the final chapter, and is equal parts introverted, non-vocal, not really vocal at all, and yet somehow an unstoppable fount of rage. And he's put in this place with these kids that have, varying degrees of social awkwardness to homicidal tendencies, as evidenced by Vinny taking out Joey. Joey is a very annoying person. Joey is so annoying that Jason or Jason Light doesn't even have to show up to kill him. The other kids just kill him. He's that nerve-wrackingly annoying. Joey's murder, ironically, sets off a series of revenge killings by a guy pretending to be Jason, because who's going to believe it's not Jason? Or who's going to believe it's not Tommy pretending it's Jason? But in actuality, it's Roy the paramedic. Because Roy the paramedic is Joey's deadbeat dad who left him somewhere. No apparent reason why, but now he cares, and now he cares so much he's going to murder people. And he's going to murder so many people. He's going to murder people that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. They're just in the vicinity.